Well, from the earliest I can remember, I was in a Christian home, grew up with my mom, a brother 3 years older, a father. My father was the pastor of a church right down the road from us that we all attended. A lot of people probably thought that we lived a really good life just from the outside looking in. Unfortunately, there was a lot of things that people couldn't see behind closed doors. There's a lot of abuse in our home. My dad left us when I was 5 years old, and it was a tough time. After a couple years, my mom got remarried to a guy. He seemed really wonderful. He did a lot of things with us. As good as someone can seem up front, he would lie to her, and it was tough on my mom. She didn't know what to believe and what's going on. One day I came home from school, came right in the back door off the school bus, and just walk into my room, and when I looked in there to say hey, I noticed he was in there, and it was, he was doing drugs on the table in there. He came into my room just freaking out. He knew that I saw him, whatever he was doing, and he wanted me to not tell my mother about it. It just turned violent real quick. I ended up, not even probably a half hour after that, ended up doing drugs with him that same day. And he told me that that's how he handled things, and that's something that helped him through some of these things. Even though he just beat me up, I came in there crying to him because I didn't know what else to think. I was 12, and that was the first time I did drugs, and just kind of set the course for the next 10 years of my life. I struggled with addiction, was arrested for drug trafficking, and spent some time away from home. It was very difficult for me, and it was just in and out of jail a lot, for a lot of different things. I got so bad in my addiction that I almost lost my life in June of 2014. I was 22 years old and had a heroin overdose, and it was just a huge scare for me. I did love my life. I valued my life. I didn't really want to see myself losing my life to something like that. So I decided to go to rehab. I wasn't really allowed to talk about Jesus in rehab, and that was a difficult thing for me because I had just found him. So I started just by opening my Bible. I was writing letters to my grandfather from rehab, and he was just telling me certain books of the Bible I could get into that would be encouraging in that time. So all of these feelings of pain and trauma in my life and all of these things that I had to look back on became better. I learned to live with them. Christ was there for me in every situation. When I didn't have a earthly father that was there for me in a lot of ways at any point in my life, for the first time feeling that love was just extraordinary for me. It's something I hadn't felt before, and it meant a lot to me. It made me want to get to know more about God and what I could do to share this with other people, and just live a life that was pleasing to him. One of the things I think about often is just not defining myself by things that I've been through in my past. By looking at myself as a follower of Jesus and giving that as my identity. Not looking at myself as someone who has been an addict and has been through trauma and abuse and all kinds of other things, but to rather see myself as somebody who's just successful in Christ, and fruitful in that, and just grateful in it. God's just brought me to a place where I have support. He's given me a church at Oaks that has just been there for me in every situation. And just being here with our church and being with my friends at church and our family there, I do consider them family. It's just been a big part of me getting through it. If you don't know who Jesus is, or maybe you're questioning your faith, I would just highly recommend giving it a shot. Give Jesus a shot. It is one of the most fulfilling things that you will ever do. It's one of the biggest decisions you could ever make for yourself. If God can do it for me, he can do it for you too.